Hello, this is I Do Damage, and welcome back to the channel. In this Remnant from the Ashes video, I want to do a video game review and share my final thoughts on the game. All of this is based on me beating the game one time on normal and playing a ton of co-op. I played with friends, and I also played with random people online. But let's go ahead and start. First, I want to talk about the overall feel and gameplay and the performance of this game. Pretty much the fun factor. First of all, the guns feel great. Shooting and hitting enemies with your bullets feels impactful. And melee is my personal favorite, which is probably explains why I'm dead a lot, because I just love to get up in their face and try to melee all the bosses. Melee in a shooting game, huh? Next, I want to talk about the monsters. The monsters in this game are incredible. They are challenging, but you're rewarded by learning their moves and their mechanics and outplaying them. The boss fights are just epic. Top of the line, very different. Every boss is very different. Very fun mechanics to figure out. Overall, the combat to me feels on point. Part of the gameplay is online, so for me, you should be able to communicate with random players through even just a basic text chat. I know they added voice into the game, but they took it out because there was no way to turn it off. I know that they have said when the UI is ready for that they'll go ahead and add voice back into the game. Also, in relation to performance of the game, I've had very few crashes, maybe one or two in my whole 30 or 40 hours of playing. There's really not too many bugs. There's the biggest one that affected me was people joined my game, and when I'd rest at the bonfire, my screen would stay white and they would load in, but the game itself would never load. I would just be stuck on the white screen until either the players left or I just Alt F4'd the game. However, this only happened a few times. I can count it maybe 2 times that happened. Not a big deal. A few bugs have happened. They haven't happened to me, but I've heard about them, and I feel really sorry for the people that it has happened to, but one of them is corrupt save files. They're recommending that you back up your saves after every single session. And I'm sure there's other minor bugs that I'm sure these are all going to get ironed out and fixed just over time. But overall, the performance, I'm impressed with it. So now that we've talked about the gameplay, the overall feel and performance, let's talk about progression. That's always an important thing in the games that I play, and that's one of the most important things to me, so here we go. Progression in Remnant is your storyline. You have a story that you can go through and beat. The catch with this is if you're doing co-op, it only saves to the host. So if your friend is hosting the game, and you're playing with them, and later on you want to go play solo, you have to start your campaign back from where you last left off. Now, your character progresses in pretty much the weapons it uses, the armor, jewelry, and traits. But first, let's talk about gear. The progression for gear comes in plussing it up with crafting materials. And these materials are linked to tiers, and to unlock a higher tier, you have to have all your other items plussed up to a certain threshold. So this threshold is where the game gets really interesting with progression. They've said on Reddit that there is a hidden item level that you can't actually see. But the way it's calculated is it takes your highest equipable piece in each slot and then averages them. So let's say every single slot you could equip a +5 item in. Your item level would then be 5. So with this in mind, you want to try to plus everything up alongside of each other. For example, you don't want a level 10 chest piece with a level 1 gun, right? But what makes this even more interesting is that hidden level. So let's go back. You're level 5. Every time when you first enter a map, that map will be your level +1. So the first time you enter a map, it'll be level 6. You could come back to that same map 2 days later, it's still going to be level 6. The first time you enter a map, it scales to your current hidden item level +1. Now, weapons and armor are really cool, and it really shapes the way that you play your character, especially weapons and the boss weapons in particular. They can really change your playstyle. Now, it's true that people will have different characters, but not by player choice. It's based on random events, because the way you get special items in Remnant is by getting lucky and getting the specific event that drops the item you're looking for when it comes to boss weapons. And when you start your campaign, you may just not have that event in there at all. So really it doesn't come down to player choice, it just comes down to luck of the draw. So when it comes down to weapon progression, it's just purely random and you can just hope for the best. Next, let's talk about traits. This is a big part of progression, and it seemed to me when I first looked at this game that they wanted this to be just a massive part of progression. And it is. You can get every single trait on one character, and you can get every single trait to max level. There are 32 traits. Each trait can be max level 20, so you can get to a max level of 640. Really, there's no need to play an alt or any other character. You can just play one character the whole way through and get every single thing on that one character. So that's progression. Now let's talk about content. As I said, there's a story mode. It probably takes about 15 plus hours to beat, depending on your playstyle. It could take longer, or it could be a lot quicker, just depending on how you play games. The game offers 3 difficulties, and an increased difficulty you are rewarded with by getting more experience. You can re-roll your story whenever you want to. Maybe if you get stuck on a boss or you don't get the room that you're looking for, you can re-roll. It scales with your item level the first time you enter a map, like I said, so there's that. They have said that coming soon they'll be adding adventure mode, and obviously I'll do videos on that as we know more information about it. But for now, that's pretty much everything in the game. Last but not least, I'll talk about some pros and cons for Remnant. First of all, this game is incredible. There is so much to discover and find, and secrets and hidden treasure. There's just so many ways. Even bosses, there's 2 to 3 different ways to kill most of the bosses in this game, and it's just insane how many things there are hidden away in this world. I'm always looking forward to the next fight. Even if it's just a trash mob or just a random monster, I'm always looking forward to learning their moveset and outplaying them. I'm always looking forward to the next epic boss battle and learning their mechanics. And then finally getting their loot and getting that boss weapon and see how it's used and what I can use to kind of change my playstyle. It's just incredible. And so while we're talking about items, plussing the items up and leveling them up makes them feel actually stronger, and it really does make your character feel better, and it's impactful. And also the different weapons, different playstyles, different armor bringing to the table different build opportunities. You could have a full-on melee build if you wanted to. These are all the things I love about Remnant. Now, some of the cons, and I know the majority of you are going to disagree with me, and that is totally fine. This is my opinion, and let's go ahead and talk about it. It is in regards to traits. Now, in my very first Remnant video, when I was talking about traits, I had said that they're a cool idea, but your character is not going to be very special. And that's right, from my perspective. Like I said before, you can get every single trait, max level. You don't have to make any choices with your character. Of course, as you're leveling up, you can make a few choices here and there, but in the end, everyone's going to have the same traits, and your character doesn't stand out at all, so there's no diversity there. So being able to do all that with no limits just doesn't feel right to me. Another thing I don't like is there's no in-game chat. I know it's going to be fixed in the future, so I'm not too upset about that. Also, the co-op save system. I knew this was how the game was, and it feels even worse than I thought it would. Actually doing it and having to play with my buddy for, a night, 8 hours or whatever, and then the next morning I wake up and have to do it all over again on my save. It just feels bad. I'm not a fan of it. And last but not least, there's just not a lot of endgame currently. I'm hoping that adventure mode will add more to that. Pretty much right now it's just re-rolling the story and doing higher difficulties until you finally have all the traits and you're just like all the other people that are playing the game. But the cons set aside, overall this game seriously did surprise me. When I first saw this game I thought to myself, oh okay, that seems pretty cool. I don't really like shooters, but it kind of reminds me of other games and I'll probably like it. But from the minute I started playing it, I fell in love with this game. I think this game is a true gem. It's been a long time since I've had a game that I want to actually discover every corner and crevice and hidden secret and just it's been a long time. I'm used to just speed running through games and getting to the end game content, but in this one I actually want to discover the whole map and do full clears and make sure I'm not missing anything really cool or any sweet loot. It feels really good. The weapons and armor are really cool, and there's so many different fun builds to try. I have so many still that I'm thinking of, and who knows, maybe I'll make some more videos on that in the future. But in all seriousness, this game is a true gem in my opinion, and I would recommend this game to literally anyone that likes video games. But it's even better with friends. So in the end, I would give this game a 9 out of 10. I think this game is truly amazing. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I do. Let me know down in the comments, what do you guys think about this game? Do you agree or disagree? I'd love to hear it and keep the conversation going. So if you haven't, check out the Remnant Discord. I'll have it down in the link below. I also have a Discord that I manage for the channel. Feel free to join if you want. And also, please check out the links down below. If you like this video, like and subscribe. And as always, thanks. We'll see you next time.